Consumer Directed Choices is an agency that's based in Albany, New York. We're a nonprofit, and we provide fiscal intermediary services, which is payroll and benefit services to personal assistants on behalf of consumers. It is a program called Consumer Directed Personal Assistance, and the program is available throughout New York State. Consumer Directed Choices serves the greater capital region, primarily Albany, Schenectady, Saratoga, Columbia, and Greene counties.
Okay.
And Consumer Directed Personal Assistance is an alternative home care program under Medicaid for people with disabilities and seniors. Under this program, consumers, those are the people with disabilities who are using the services, the consumers are the employer of their home care staff. Under traditional home care, most people think about an agency where they have a pool of nurses, home health aides, things of that nature. And they will staff the home care, and they will supervise the workers, they'll train the workers, they will assign them to the patients, and they will be responsible for delivering the care and managing the plan of care. Under Consumer Directed Personal Assistance, the consumer is actually the one who is managing their plan of care. They're managing their staff. They're deciding who's coming into their home. They're deciding when they're coming into their home. They're deciding how to train them, and they're deciding how the work is going to be performed.
Now, the people that the consumer has to choose from, I would assume that you screen them ahead of time and make the person aware of who is available to do what is needed?
Actually, we don't screen them. That's an employer role. That's something that the consumer does. The consumer sets up what is their own criteria. If they want a certain set of experience, if they want a certain background, they can choose that. It's up to them. We do have a recruitment tool called the Recruitment Assistance Intermediary System. It's an online database for people who are interested in looking for work, can set up sort of a I'm looking for work type of profile. And they can list out their experience, who they are, what hours that they're available, and then a consumer can also set up sort of a help wanted ad to say what kind of personal assistant that they are looking for. And we consider it like a Match.com for consumers and personal assistants. The consumer, we give them guidance or give them suggestions about how to check references, asking interview questions, and doing their own screening to make sure that it is the proper fit for them. So we don't do the screening, but we do have a database to help them with recruitment.
What are some of the specific needs that a consumer might have?
It could be a whole host of things that just when you think about this morning when you got out of bed, you get out of bed, you might go to the bathroom, you make coffee, you have breakfast, you get dressed, you shower, things of that nature.
Take the dog for a walk.
Yeah. Well, it was supposed to be about personal care. So
not in our house.
So those are some of the tasks that they can be doing.
Right.
They can do shopping for them too, grocery shopping, things of that nature. So,
the individual consumer, they decide they have a particular need. Do they work with you in setting up an appointment for people that would come to their home for that job interview, or do they do that independent of you guys?
They do that totally independently. So it's entirely up to them. If they want to do an interview in our office, like they want to go to some place that's neutral, they don't want to have somebody in their house, or and they need a place to go, they can come to. We have an office at our office that they can go into and have their own interview if they'd like. But for the most part, it is up to them. They can schedule it when they want to. They can do it by phone. They can do some pre-screening by email. They can meet in a coffee shop. They can do it in their homes. It's really up to them and what they feel comfortable with.
We have a very bicultural population in New York State, and things are changing all the time. What sort of an impact has that had on your organization?
Well, consumer-directed personal assistance is really a great program for people of different cultures and people who maybe don't speak English as having that be their native language. For example, for consumer-directed choices, we have a large Russian population, and for them, they have personal assistants that speak Russian, that know their culture, and it's just a lot easier for them to staff using consumer-directed personal assistance. And we have another a mom of children using the program who is from India, who also uses the program and has personal assistants that, again, knows their language, knows their culture. And so it's just a really great program for people who want somebody who knows their culture, knows their religion, knows their language. It makes it much more comfortable for them.
How does one sign up for your program?
Well, first they have to be eligible for Medicaid. So if they don't have Medicaid, what they should do is contact their local Department of Social Services to see if they are eligible for Medicaid. Or I believe also the New York Health Exchange, you can access Medicaid through that as well. Once they have Medicaid, then they need to be given a nursing assessment and a social assessment. And that is
okay, describe the nursing assessment.
The nursing assessment will go through what kind of personal care tasks that they need. And how many. It sort of gets towards working with a consumer to develop a plan of care. It gets towards setting the number of hours that the person might need per week. So that is what's happened. It's done by a nurse, obviously, because it's a nursing assessment. The social assessment looks at the informal care and the household and that part of the person's life, and those are brought together to develop a plan of care. And I'll have a set number of hours that are that the consumer can have. And the personal assistant, the consumer is only allowed to have the personal assistant do what's on that plan of care. So that becomes almost like the starting point to developing a job description if the consumer wants to do that. And so the person who does the nursing assessment and social assessment either comes from the Department of Social Services, or if the person is enrolled in a Medicaid managed care program, it would be the managed care plan that would do that. So once they're determined eligible for Medicaid, they can either call their local social services department or their Medicaid managed care plan to ask for an assessment.
What sort of an impact is Obamacare having on your situation in 2014? Positive, negative, or no impact?
Well, actually, there could be a very positive impact with Obamacare in that it could really expand and grow the number of people who are able to be served in the community rather than a nursing home or in an institution. There's a program under Obamacare called Community First Choice. And
what is that?
It's a Medicaid option that states can go into, and the state, currently New York State, is looking to pursue this. And what it does is it changes the way community services are delivered, and so that a person who is eligible for a nursing home or an institutional care is able to have more of a choice of saying where they want their services. So rather than, kind of more likely going into a nursing home, they can say, I want to be home, and the services will be brought into the home. Yep. So that's an awesome change. It's kind of bending the expense curve from being more institutional and bringing it out into the community where people can live freely. It's lower cost. You can serve more people for less cost that way, and it also brings in more money actually for the state. But it's a great initiative to further the concept of deinstitutionalization.
Now, once the consumer has made a choice to hire Mary or John to assist, or maybe both to assist with their needs, is that the point where they turn to you guys to get involved and help out?
Well, we can provide them with what we call an enrollment packet. And what the consumer does with that enrollment packet, it has things like I-9, hiring forms, a wage notification, all of those legal documents that an employer needs to officially hire somebody. And the consumer completes that with their personal assistants. If we do not fill out those forms, the consumer or their designated representative fills out the form.
You guys would be the personal assistant, right?
No, we wouldn't be the personal assistant.
Okay,
but
so the person being hired and the consumer doing the hiring does that. What if they don't have that sort of an accounting background? Are you there, guys there at all to help?
Well, we do all that stuff. We'll take care of payroll and doing the withdrawing of the taxes, things of that nature. And if a consumer is not sure how to fill out the forms, we can provide them with guidance as to how to complete it. Oh,
you do help them then?
Yeah, we can provide them with assistance in terms of, this is how you fill out an I-9, because that can be a confusing document to fill out. This is how the wage notification should be completed. So we can assist with that, but ultimately it is the consumer or the designated representative completing it. They'll then submit that to us, and then we'll put it into our system, and then the personal assistant needs to get a health assessment, which includes a PPD test for tuberculosis and some immunization records. And once we have those, the personal assistant is good to go. If the personal assistant does not have the resources to pay for a health assessment, we do have vendors that we will pay for the health assessment for them. So, so that there's no cost to them.
Then after they get through all of those steps, then they begin their job with your consumer. And talk about that a little bit. What is the daily lifestyle like?
Well, that varies from consumer to consumer.
Okay.
It really does. I mean, some consumers might have their personal assistants. Maybe they want them to come in at 9 o'clock in the morning to start their day and have them work for a few hours. Maybe the consumer will go out and go on with their lives, and then they'll come back and they'll have either the same personal assistant or another personal assistant help them out. Other consumers might want to stay up until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, so maybe they're finding a personal assistant that's coming in at 11 o'clock at night to help them out. They could have their personal assistant come in at 6 o'clock in the morning. They could have them come in the weekends. They could have them, so it's really as unique as every individual is how unique each consumer will be with how they work with their personal assistants.
What is the typical hourly rate right now?
Well, it varies from agency to agency. I think the average in our Greater Capital Region
for New York State.
Well, even for the Greater Capital Region, because I don't know if for New York State, but in the Greater Capital Region, I think it's around $18
an hour. Right.
Is the amount that Medicaid will reimburse. And again, that varies from agency to agency, and that is a couple of dollars cheaper than a traditional agency.
Now, also, I'm reading you guys set up a 401k plan for the individual hired. Want to talk about that a little?
Yep. There is a 401k benefit that is available to personal assistants, and they can participate if they'd like to in that. So that's one of the benefits that's available. Our agency also provides health insurance and dental insurance to personal assistants that work a certain number of hours. They can purchase health insurance. There's paid time off. There is holiday pay. And again, those kind of pay and benefit structures do vary from agency to agency. But that's a very common type of benefit package. It
would seem to me that someone that would need your services and the services of a personal assistant, they would have to be somewhat affluent, that they would be able to set up a retirement plan for the people coming in to work at their house.
If they were doing it alone, it would probably be very difficult, which is one of the benefits of having an agency do all of that administrative.
No, I'm talking about that they would be able to make a contribution, matching.
Oh, okay. Well, the personal assistant can make, a fairly small contribution. It doesn't have to be much at all. It's really up to them.
Okay, but the employer that needs the help, do they make a contribution as well?
The consumer does not.
They don't match.
They don't match it. No, they don't. However, consumer-directed choices may match it. So.
Now, my understanding is that if someone in need of your services has to go to the hospital, that at that point the employment is suspended with the personal assistant?
How that works, it's not, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily suspended, but the consumer is not allowed to have their personal assistant work and be paid for under the Consumer-Directed Personal Assistance Program while they're in the hospital. And the theory behind that is it's like a duplication of Medicaid dollars.
Right.
If the consumer wanted to pay them out of pocket, they could do that, but they can't pay for them through consumer-directed choices and through the Medicaid dollars for work while they're in the hospital.